I always wonder, I always worry about True disappearing behind me. And I'm always relieved when she comes out because my buhonkas is ridiculous. And when I bend over, things just fall in it. It's like the Bermuda Triangle, except it's the scary chocolate starfish. I'm glad you made it out, True. How's everyone doing? This was a long night. Oh, my God. I'm so glad Katie did not die. I'm glad you're still here with us. I think you're the closest that I'm ever going to get to Catherine O'Hara, so thank you for not dying. That would have been sad. Might would have messed up some of my punchlines, too, about heaven. I am not a January 6th rioter, pulling a Bugs Bunny hiding from the feds. I call myself a fashionista. I call this Bozo meets Miss Piggy. Have Piggy in a blanket mixed with a space. Okay, I'm not a fashion wizard. I just put on layer after layer after layer until everything's covered, and then I top it off with a little bee pin because that makes me look nice. Really, the bee pin is like a last-minute self-defense thing where I can take it off and stab someone with the pin. That's my trusty bee, queen bee, just in cases. But I'm used to being in the South. I am from the South, and people that dress like me, we don't fit in. Yes, I'm from the South. I am so sorry. Anuses usually pucker whenever I talk about being from the South. You know, I don't know if it's the cousin fucking or that your dad could be your cousin or your uncle or all three. I also took the 23andMe. That was so amazing. I didn't find out anything different. Romanian, Scottish, Irish, but I did find out that I am 3% Neanderthal. That explains my family so much. They even wrote in red, "You are more Neanderthal than 75% of our other customers." It makes so much sense with my family. I come from a long line of con men, I'll tell you that up front. Preachers, sorry, I get the words confused. My dad was a preacher. Ma could have been a preacher, but she didn't believe women should spout fairy tales from the pulpit. And my granddad was a preacher. So, you know, we have that going for us. Plus, I didn't want to be around my family forever because, you know, religion drives me fucking insane. So I got out in the world, and the one thing I learned about the world is food. Everywhere, food is love. And I thought that was so gorgeous, so beautiful. Food is love. So I became a chef really early on. Nice. Mostly because where I come from, food is whatever couldn't outrun the 22 in the front yard. I've eaten some weird shit coming from Georgia. Raccoon tastes like roast beef. Possum is a little greasy, but they make better cats than they do roasts. Squirrels, I couldn't bring myself to eat the squirrel because it just looked like a rat in gravy. So I learned to be a chef very early on. I actually became a vegetarian for 10 years. I know you look at me and you're like, there's a way they were a fucking vegetarian. They have their own gravity. But no, I was a vegetarian for 10 years. And my rule, as I would tell all of my cousins, because we would have to have cousin dinners, I would tell all my cousins, I don't eat it if it had to die. If it's an animal and it had to die, I do not eat it. Because I can't kill my own stuff. So that was my rule. Well, my cousin Bubba cooked us a dinner. It was amazing. And it was fake. He said that it was vegetarian. was liver and onions and rice and gravy. Oh my God. So good. So amazing. The texture of the liver was like none I had ever had before. It was so perfect. And coming from my cousin Bubba, I mean, my cousin Bubba was the one that would work on lawnmowers and never put them back together. But I was thinking, man, Bubba, you might actually have a culinary future. This is really great. Where'd you get it from? And he said, I got it from Cousin Eddie. I was like, where is Cousin Eddie? He was the only cousin that wasn't there, and I didn't notice until then. And they said, oh, he just got his liver transplant. Vegetarian liver, nothing died. That is a lie. That is a lie. I found that joke through something else. Sorry. I am also a millennial. And I'm noticing that millennials are coming into power and how we have changed the world. You know, I really hated those Flintstone vitamins when I was a kid. So chalky and gross. Millennials changed it to where we have gummy vitamins. So amazing. Now we don't have to have that nasty taste in our mouth ever again. We also changed the world of architecture. You know, everything goes up like Legos now. We really learned how to snap shit together. It might fall apart in the first big one we have, but we can build some shit. And the third is that we made it safe to talk about eating ass in the office. Fuck those Flintstones. They tasted nasty. But chocolate starfish, And now we can talk about it because it's okay. We didn't invent ass eating, thank you. We know generations before us was licking the chocolate starfish long before us. We just got nothing else to talk about. We get bored. We got nothing else to do. So I'm a little thrown off. When we pulled up, there was a little lady in a wheelchair, and she was just tagging along out there on the street. And it just broke my heart because the way she was pedaling herself, she was pedaling herself really fast with her feet. But then a cop pulled up, and he snatched her out of that wheelchair and threw her in the back of the car. What is wrong with cops nowadays? ACAB, am I right? I yelled at until someone's after my car. Then I'm like, hey, officer! But I couldn't take it. This old lady in the back, and I was like, hey, officer! What'd she do? Why has she been back there? And the cop looked at me, and he didn't skip a beat, and he said, well, she was peddling pussy. That was my grandmother's favorite joke. That was my grandmother's icebreaker. Anytime my grandmother was a little nervous and you popped in on her, she would start off with, there was a lady out here on this bicycle, and she was just a-peddling. Oh, God, here we go. So I decided that I was going to tell that at my grandmother's eulogy. Yeah. I went before everybody, and I'm the crazy cousin. I'm the one that doesn't have the filter. And I started out with a joke. There was a lady out there in a wheelchair, and she was just a-peddling. And when I said peddling, everyone that was looking at their phone, everyone that was mumbling, stopped and looked up at me. Oh, my God, they're not going to say it, are they? They're not going to say it, are they? And then I heard someone say, say what? And then they leaned over and they said, if you don't know it, you are too young for it. That was Grandma's favorite joke. What are they going to say? And I kept telling the story, and I was getting into it. And right as I was getting to the punchline, I realized that the preacher had gotten up and was standing to my right side. And he was sweating real bad. And I looked over at him, and he was like, and I pulled back, and I didn't say the punchline. And then I realized how badass my grandmother was, because she told this preacher her peddling pussy joke. Maybe she should have been a preacher. A little sexual harassment in the church. I'm Lyz Tory. Thank you so much.
Lyz Tory closing out the show, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give a round of applause for all the comedians performing tonight. That was fantastic.